inside and have a nice cup of tea.
You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Hey, welcome back to 91 Reasons. I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice. I am happy to present part 2 of my interview with Tim and Monique. If you listened last time, you know that Monique's a big Back to the Future fan. We have a lot in common there. And we hung out during Back to the Future week last year. And she happens to be married to a really nice guy named Tim, who is currently a school teacher, but once upon a time in a land far away, he worked on some movies that mean so much to the 80s generation. Last episode, we talked about Legend, and this episode, we're going to talk about an equally fantastic movie. Now, this movie I have not reviewed on the feed, so I think it is overdue for me to sit down and do a full hour, because Labyrinth is a fantastic movie. It has amazing visuals. It's the last film that Jim Henson directed himself. It's amazing with David Bowie, Jennifer Connelly, the genius of Brian Froud, everybody that worked on it, Dave Goelz. It was written by Terry Jones from Monty Python. A lot of fantastic stuff in there. So look for that sometime, probably this summer if I can ever get to it, because I like to watch it fresh, but I've got movies backed up to the moon to review. But here is part 2 of my interview with Tim. He's a great guy. It does get a bit emotional, but when you're talking about an icon like Jim Henson, who really defined childhood and meant and still continues to mean so much to people, modern day Walt Disney, I think is what I call him in the episode, who was taken from us suddenly, tragically, and without warning. It can get very emotional, and the episode does. So I'm thankful that my friend Tim was able to sit down with me and, more importantly, give me permission to put an episode like this up. It's raw, it's emotional, it's fun. It is everything that a conversation about Labyrinth should be, with the loss of Jim Henson so many years ago and the recent loss of David Bowie himself. And I went down to David Bowie's star on the Walk of Fame and put a flower down and glitter and watched my kids get really emotional because my 15-year-old's obsessed with David Bowie, and with the new album coming out, he thought he was going to get to see him on tour, and things don't always work out the way you want them, do they? And life can be a bitch, and I'm sorry to say that on the show, but harsh language sometimes is the only way to define harsh times, and losing a genius like David Bowie so suddenly really sucks. And I quote, somebody asked me about losing so many people in a row, David Bowie and Alan Rickman and others. I mean, even Abe Vigoda, right? And I quoted Captain Picard from Star Trek Generations, which is a stupid movie to quote, but that's just the way just how stupid I am. And Picard said, "I'm at a time now where life has stopped giving things and starts taking them away." And if I misquote it from a different movie, I apologize. But when you get wrapped up in emotion, that's the way things go. So, again, massive thanks to Tim and Monique for sitting down. Hope you enjoy the second part as we journey beyond imagination and beyond dreams into the world of the Labyrinth.
You have 13 hours in which to solve the labyrinth before your baby brother becomes one of us forever.
Because, right now they're working on Gremlins.
I know that.
And
yeah, I know.
A few others, but the other big one is the one we're going to talk about now. The other big movie you're involved with, right?
Oh, don't say they're going to remake it.
Which one?
Labyrinth?
They are going to do something with Labyrinth.
They have officially announced it is not a redo. It is a new script.
I think that's just smoke. I think that's a smoke screen.
Here's what they said. Here's what they said. They said the movie was put into production early 2014. They didn't know anything about David Bowie and what was going on.
Because it was
written.
cancer.
It's written as a sequel of the Labyrinth universe because Labyrinth has this really expansive universe.
It's its own story.
It's got the cosplay ball.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Without David Bowie, there's no Labyrinth, and the poor guy is dead.
Yeah.
The film needs to be sealed and go, this is it, we're done.
The woman said, it's not my fault this happened. This has been in the works for a long time.
Yeah, but you know, hey, listen, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's what I say.
I kind of get her point if she's been working on this.
Well, you know what? It's just paper. You can work on something else.
The Labyrinth cosplay ball, which is canonically continues the Labyrinth story as a cosplay festival. The people who are in the cosplay are canonical characters. You get written into the universe.
Okay.
Henson is involved with it.
Dinner thing.
Yeah, and they have Henson puppets and props and stuff, and they haven't had a guy play Jareth as like a canonical Jareth in like a decade. Because I went to the panel at Scale LA for the people who put the show on, and someone said, "You got to bring Jareth back. You got to get a Bowie impersonator to play Jareth." And they said, "We haven't had Jareth in a long time." And they're playing.
Well, okay. So you worked on Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That's what a 1-2 punch. That's amazing. Because there aren't that many solid sword and sorcery movies, and I think that counts as a sword and sorcery movie, that were made in the 80s during practical times. I mean, you can count them. There was Dragon Slayer, Lady Hawk, Labyrinth, Legend.
Conan the Barbarian?
Absolutely. But not Conan the Destroyer. That's terrible.
No.
Red Sonja?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what? You were a producer on Labyrinth as well, is what you're saying. That's fantastic.
I got lucky.
That was, other than the scene of Sarah in the park, that's totally done on sound stages.
Yes, it is.
Because with puppetry, you have to have control over the levels.
Yes.
Everything's built up to allow for the puppetry.
And Jim Henson Studios worked for a year and a half before the movie was even started production, building all the puppets. And they still weren't ready when they started production, but they worked it out because of Jim Henson.
Wow, Jim Henson's
and Frank Oz,
the closest we've come to Walt Disney.
Oh yeah,
after Disney's passing, I think when Henson died, I think collectively part of our imagination went with him because Henson overflowed, and. It's too bad the studio system treated him the way he did because Dark Crystal was so badly received by the studio that it took Lucas stepping up and saying, "Look, I will make Labyrinth with you," to get him back in the director's chair.
Right.
And Labyrinth is a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. Everything's practical, except the CGI owl in the beginning.
Well, yeah,
which is great because it's one of the first real uses of CGI after The Last Starfighter.
I'm trying to think what movie that came from, because it came from. Oh God, what is it?
Is it the one with Medusa in it?
Yeah.
Oh, Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah,
that's the same owl.
Oh, it's the same owl.
That's the same owl.
That's what I
and
thought.
So, Clash of the Titans' big thing was this is the last Ray Harryhausen movie that we're going to have.
Good, yeah.
So they were very adamant that not to use that kind of trickery.
Right.
So
that was a practical effect in that, but they had also the CGI version.
I didn't know that. So the owl at the beginning of Labyrinth is actually a variation of Bubo from Titans. That blows my mind. Makes perfect sense though. Perfect sense. That's fantastic. Now this movie must have been a nightmare too. I mean, with all the puppetry. How many? So for the scene of the throne room where Jareth has Toby and all the goblins are there. How many puppeteers are we talking hidden in the walls?
36, I believe.
36 people.
Yeah.
Usually probably with one on each.
In the walls. Oh yeah.
With one on each hand. Dancing and that must have been so much. I know it's hard work. I know it's mind-numbing, but it must have just been electric to be a part of something like that.
Well, it's kind of like you're a kid and you're in a fantasy land and you get to be there for hours and hours a day. So it was very cool.
I remember reading an article in Starlog about a guy who had worked on Labyrinth. His big thing was he's one of the eyeball vines. And he said that shot took forever, and he thought, I just know Jim Henson's going to see me and go, that guy's going to be promoted to the master puppeteer. It's like, he goes, it was an illusion. We were just cogs in a machine to get this thing to completion.
Well, he was a driving force. I mean, if things went wrong, he fixed it.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him.
The most impressive moment in Labyrinth is when the gates close and they make that suit of armor.
Oh, yeah.
That then walks off the gate. I am in awe. I've seen it 1,000 times because I've watched it over and over again. I have no idea how that was accomplished. It's one of the best special effects I've ever seen in a movie. Because it looks like it's doing what it's doing. I can't figure that out.
Camera angles.
It's amazing.
It was.
And if you've seen the behind-the-scenes footage of the magician they hired to do the globe work on his arms.
About that as
Michael.
Amazing.
Yeah, he did it blind.
Did it blind because he's behind Bowie.
Yeah.
Michael.
Unbelievable. It's weird, too, like, that Lucas, after Star Wars, Lucas did 2 big projects in the 80s after Star Wars. He did Captain EO and Labyrinth. And they both starred arguably the most famous musicians on the planet at the time. And EO's okay, but to me Labyrinth is a masterpiece. And I think a lot of it has to do simply with there's no better casting than David Bowie.
He almost didn't want it.
Bowie, you're talking about?
Bowie, yeah. It was presented to Bowie about 1.5 years before production started, and he only agreed to do it in February of '83.
Did they have a second choice?
They had several second choices, but I do not recall their names.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, we played a game in the car the other day of if they were to remake Labyrinth before we read about it, who would fill his shoes? The only person we could come up with...
No one.
Well, but here's the thing is, if the easy answer is no one, but the other answer is, well, somebody's going to do it.
Step up and do it.
And we can only come up with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I only feel for the actor because there's no one that could do it.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Jareth. He's doing a variation of that in Doctor Strange with the Marvel movies. But if you look at 1986 when this film came out, who do you cast? Christopher Walken doesn't work.
No.
You know? Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran. Christopher Lloyd. Oh, the labyrinth is right here.
No, I wouldn't be.
Forget about the baby, Sarah. You know, that's just so ridiculous.
Yes.
Andy Kaufman. You took the baby. You took the baby. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I love that guy.
Oh, me too. But who would have been the icon to do that?
Sting.
Oh yeah, you know what?
He did do a movie.
Sting?
No,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, Sting did a bunch. He did. He was in the
It's like
The Bride.
Yes, that was.
Yeah,
the
and he
one
was in
thinking of.
Dune. He was great in Dune.
He probably could have done it, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see. You know what?
I would have wanted him. I
could
want
see
Bowie,
that,
but I
too.
could have seen that. I could see it.
Sting would have been okay.
Sting doing it.
Because
he
you
might
needed.
still be okay now. I know he's old, but
you needed that rock and
maybe there's your
roll
option.
layer,
Right.
Because the movie, like we talked about in Legend, is about somebody being tempted. And a regular guy's not going to be that tempting versus a rock god. And you know, David Bowie is flawlessly cast as Jareth. Flawless. Because not only is he sexy and radiating energy, but he also has that androgynous thing.
Yeah.
So even though he's exuding all this sexual energy, he's also saying, hey, but you can be whatever you want with me.
Bingo.
And that's sexy, especially because we're talking about... Sarah's supposed to be, what, 13, 14 in the movie?
13, 14.
Right on the cusp of puberty.
Right.
Right in the moment of when a girl gets her cycle and that makes her a woman. You know, because I've delved a lot into Joseph Campbell's Power of Myth and how... for the female side, the minute she gets her cycle, she's a woman. There's a physical moment when she becomes a woman. Men have to go on a journey, have to go on a quest to become a man. They have to accomplish something great. They have to show their father, I am worthy of the mantle of manhood. Women, it's totally different. So this movie has that moment of he's trying to seduce her.
It's a loss of innocence.
Yes, exactly. And I was telling the kids, we ordered the Blu-ray because for some reason every copy I get of Labyrinth vanishes.
Yeah,
I loan it to somebody. I bought it a dozen times. I bought it on VHS, Beta, Laserdisc, DVD, and now Blu-ray, right? But it's not. It's got puppets and it's got magic dance, but it ain't a kids movie.
Oh, wait a minute! Didn't you say he doesn't like to refer them as that? He likes to refer to them as characters.
Yeah.
Instead of puppets.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was very strict about that, from what I've been told.
Oh, that's great. But that puts everybody in the mindset of look, treat this thing
as an entity.
Yeah. But what is Hoggle's introduction into the movie? When Sarah finds Hoggle, what is he doing?
Oh.
You remember? He's taking a whiz.
That's right.
He's got his pants down.
That's right.
And after he zips up,
yeah.
after he zips up, he's killing little fairies. Like it's really not for children. And I love that because so few people, Roald Dahl, Jim Henson, George Lucas, the Coppola, because Coppola made EO, recognized that children like to be scared.
Sure.
They like things that are scary and dark, and I don't know if I trust this guy, and that's it. And that's what makes really good kids movies, quote unquote kids movies. The movies that are like happy, shiny things dancing around, kids could care less. The movies that they truly care about are the ones that poke at them and prod them. And Labyrinth does. Labyrinth does because it's Sarah's decision to have Toby taken away.
Correct.
She says it in anger. Take this kid away. And
take this child away from me.
Jareth tells her, you asked for me to take the baby and I did. You asked for a challenge to get him back and everything I've done is at your behest. And, you know, that's one of those weird things because growing up, to every guy, women are a complete enigma.
Of course.
You never figure them out.
They changed?
Yeah, no. They're a complete enigma. And as you get older and you accumulate knowledge and you're able to look past your hormones and study things and finally calm the hell down.
Yeah.
Labyrinth is interesting because Jareth is a heterosexual king. He's a man. I mean, he's very prominently a man in the movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he's at the whim of a 13-year-old girl who says, I want it like this. No, I want it like this. Well, maybe I want it like this. And you don't get that when you watch it the first time. It takes a few viewings, and it takes not checking out. Because it's easy to check it on Labyrinth when they get to the ballroom scene.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's weirdly out of place. Because they do that song, and you're like, oh, this is boring. It's not boring at all. No. This is the moment where he is like, she's dolled up and he's dolled up and there's no labyrinth and we're gonna knock boots basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the seduction.
Yes,
that's what that is, and
there's even a fruit involved. I mean, it's right out of the Garden of Eden.
Lisa Heath, my friend, you all know Lisa.
Yes.
On Facebook, just sent me what David Bowie song are you quiz, and she highlighted my name, Rachel. You have to take this. I got Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, that's great, honey.
Thanks, Lisa.
What the heck's going on?
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
So let me ask you real quick.
Sure.
What was the most, like, you saw all the sets from Labyrinth. Sure. What was the one that you walked in and went, I cannot believe they built this?
I would think that's
I would say the ballroom. That was opulent.
It looked gorgeous.
It was opulent.
And notice the scene where she throws the chair.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's all these elements that start flying up, and it's like easy to dismiss it. But look at it as a work of art. There's people on wires, and this is going this way, and this. It's fantastic sequence. What about the MC Escher stairway scene? They didn't build a lot of that, did they?
Well, there was special things that were made so Bowie could do what he did. And the Escher thing, that was phenomenal.
It's beautiful. It's totally beautiful. And that scene where, I know it's not him because I've seen the stunt guy do it, where he walks around. He's walking underneath, and then he sort of comes up. And it looks awkward. But it isn't awkward because, well, that's what it looks like. Because somebody's really doing it, you know?
That was that's a phenomenal piece of work. And I know how it worked, but I can't tell you.
It's amazing. It's completely impressive. And I think that it's great that, I mean, it's really sad that Bowie passed away, 2 weeks now?
On my birthday.
On your birthday.
Was it really on your birthday?
Yes,
On my birthday.
That's not a very good gift.
I know.
No.
But he had went to bed, like I said. He went to
So you
bed.
didn't find out till the next morning. See,
I
I
found
had
out
just
at 3:30 in the morning.
3:30 in the morning. See, I had just crawled into bed when someone contacted me, and I love her, but I didn't know how. I didn't believe her. I didn't think she was a reliable source. I'm like, oh, you're just living on all those TMZ type faking sites, and I was like, she's always posting crazy. I said, no, I don't believe you. I straight out told her. I said, this is not true. Period. And then I laid there and I went, do you
What if
think?
she's
Yes.
right? What
So
if
I
she's
got up out
right?
of bed and I said, I'm gonna go because I knew he was still up. I said, Jeff, go on your dread reports. Go on your main. If it happened, it's gonna be
Drudge.
on the. It's gonna be on the
Drudge
main
report.
page. Yeah, that page you're always
Yes.
on. And sure enough, it had said 8 minutes ago. Like it had just gone through the meet. Like it had just went social. Like it was brand spanking new. The news was
'cause
just
his son
really.
had said-
It was 11 something,
Now,
almost
Austin-
midnight when we found out.
Austin, how old are you?
15.
Now, you're 15. Now, you took it pretty hard.
Yeah,
What was going through your head when you found out?
I mean, I was kind of sad because I was really looking forward to his comeback. I thought that after Black Star, we would start seeing new albums, him in movies, because I feel like creativity is like really at an all-time low right now with the amount of CGI crud going on and how unimaginative the remakes are getting. It's just bothersome. That's why I like movies like Guardians so much, is because even if they have CG, they're imaginative. They're telling a story and they care about the film. And David Bowie was the inspiration of pretty much everything, every phenomenon in pop culture, every fantastic film steams from David Bowie. He's the most inspirational artist in the world. Losing David Bowie isn't just losing David Bowie, it's losing so many future stories and
You're gonna make me
ideas.
cry.
Oh,
I love to hear him talk like this.
wonderful. That was deep.
Well, see, like when I was 15, maybe a little bit younger, because I started doing knots at 15. Probably about 14 was when I found Ziggy Stardust. That's when I discovered who he was, what it was about, and I found a coffee table book at like a Chalk's thrift store. And it was 70s rock bands and all the bizarre people. And I had like Susie and the Banshees. And he was in there. And I never heard of him. So when I saw that, I was like, I have to, his fashion, his look, I was like, I need to know music of this person. How do I not know this? And it was instant love. And I took that coffee table book, which I wish I had now, and I shredded it to pieces. I put it all over my walls. Like I had like wallpapering of that coffee table book, and it was not just Ziggy Stardust. There was a lot of him that was on my wall, and I would use them every Saturday to figure out how I was going to do my makeup to go to Studio K or Cloud 9. And it was just so like me. I look at him and I see me, and all the things that he fell for Bowie now, today, present Bowie, was the same things I saw in him then. So when we heard under a year ago that Bowie had a new album coming out, we were all excited. As a family, we had how many conversations over this last year?
Lot.
Waiting for that single to come out, watching the first video when it was released.
And,
it was just like a comeback from him. I was reliving
when
it
Black
again.
Star came out in November, I had no clue what exactly I was looking at. And when you went online, all the websites were saying, "Oh man, David Bowie's being weird again. Who knows what this is about?" Because
it was a bizarre video.
It was the most bizarre thing. But it's
Makes
odd
sense
though,
now.
because once the death happened, suddenly It's the most logical, sensible thing he's ever made.
Album, and it totally makes sense. But you're right. When it first came out, I was like, oh no, I don't know. It's a little bit out there, and, you know. But I thought, okay. I checked the website all the time. I was waiting for the official announcement of a world tour. I knew it was going to... I said, I'm taking him. I'm going to see Bowie with my son, with the whole family. I knew we would all go. It was too big of a concert for us. It was someone Freddie Mercury and Bowie. Like, if we go on a family trip, if we all... Because we don't agree on music taste outside of that. But those seem to be the two people that we all connected to as a family. So we would, you know, and Train. We like Train. But... that was one of them. And I thought, God, a new album, a new tour. This is going to be awesome. And it just never happened. That makes me so sad.
But, like, he choreographed his death.
Yeah, it was art up to the very end.
It was. I mean, the first lyric of the new David Bowie is, something happened on the day he died.
Yeah.
And the websites have fully broken down all the songs. It is his death as music.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Well, I like the stories of him in the recording studio, because I know that I was always a big fan of the music of Labyrinth. Magic Dance is a great song, but to me, I like Underground better. I just think the lyrics are better in Underground. But I know, reading some of the stuff, that he filmed it with the Harlem Choir, doing all the background vocals, and for Magic Dance, they brought a baby in to do the baby noise. And
David Bowie did the baby noise.
The baby wouldn't talk.
That's right.
So he goes, I'll do it myself. So that's him as Toby in that song. That's brilliant.
Well, do you know why the baby was staring?
No.
Well, okay. Watch it in the movie. While Jared is holding him, he's just staring off. Well, that's because off stage, someone had a smutty puppet, and he liked it. So they just did this, because otherwise he'd scream and cry.
Oh, well, imagine he's surrounded by monsters.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, let's go.
And think about this. If they shot it here, he could only be on set, on camera for 30 seconds. And then they'd have to break.
So England, the rules were different. That's why they always cast twins here.
Yeah.
Because you swap them out.
Yep, absolutely.
What a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
But England also has tea breaks, too, right? Everyone has to break for tea, and it's like a law. Yes. That's hysterical.
Pinky's raised.
Pinky's raised.
Time for the tea.
Of course.
Bring the Queen's biscuits.
But what a convergence of talent. Think about this. There was a moment in time where under one building, George Lucas, Jim Henson, and David Bowie are standing together.
True.
That's astounding, the talent. Not to mention Dave Goelz, Brian Henson, Brian Froud, Terry Jones, who wrote it. Huge talent involved in this movie.
Well,
amazing.
Froud was responsible for the style of the costumes.
Yeah, the look.
And one thing that was interesting about Jim Henson and George Lucas in post was when it got to editing, they didn't agree. So they'd have to fight for their part. And sometimes they were tough fights.
I can imagine. Because Lucas... I've seen Lucas edit on some of the making of, and the people that work with him, at this later in life, he has all the power.
Right.
And I know at one point, Ben Burt, who's his sidekick, does all the sound effects, is like, I just don't understand why you're making that cut. And Lucas is like, well, I'm doing it anyways.
Bingo.
Yeah. But Henson was as big as he was, and I'm sure that they fought.
That was headbutting.
What did what did you do the day Henson died? I mean, that was a really dark day. Because it was so sudden. The guy's got pneumonia, goes in the hospital. Well, I don't mean to upset you, Tim. I really don't.
It was a rough day.
It was. I mean, a part of everybody's childhood died. When you look at what Henson was responsible for, he was responsible for the dreams and the imagination of generations.
Yep.
You know, because I met Paul Williams,
Oh, nice.
and I just was like, this is the guy that wrote the Rainbow Connection, and they're so ingrained in what it's like to be a child, and the true geniuses, and Henson was by far
Yes.
never let go of childhood, and I
No.
think that was the key.
It was because, speaking of another job, you know, the gentleman who has done my voicemail?
Yeah, the Joker.
Yes. His name is Jeff as well, and he worked with Jim Henson as well. And he, I said, you worked with him too? I said, so did my husband. So we had met him at one of the Hollywood shows, and we got to talking.
Yeah.
And he said just what you're saying. He loved to play on set
Yeah.
when he's giving him direction and what to do in the next scene with the Muppets, and he's just like,
You know what Henson's mantra was?
no.
When all else fails, throw penguins. And that was the mantra of, if it ain't working, we're going to throw penguins. And if that doesn't say it all about what the man was about, because we all watched Sesame Street. I think Sesame Street belongs, like, you slice it and you put it over here.
Right.
Because Sesame Street's its own entity.
Yes,
But the
I agree.
Muppet Show was where he really hit his stride, because
my
it
God,
wasn't for
yes.
kids. You can watch it with your kids and everybody has a good time.
Oh, yeah.
But if you watch it as an adult, you're like, I can't believe I didn't get any of this. Oh my
works on
God.
every level.
Every level. Absolutely.
The Muppet Show
And some
and
of
the
this
Muppet
stuff
movies,
is
yes.
so esoterical and so out there in conception. Like, even like, what's the one where the Koozbangs are going to mate?
Oh.
And they're like, we're live on Planet Koozbang, and they like scratch, and then they slam into each other.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Oh my God! And I've never met George Lucas. There's still a shot, but one of the
You
big
will.
regrets is I never got to meet Jim Henson, because what would you have said to him other than God bless you? God bless you and thank you for everything you've done and not even the children, but for everybody, because like we watched the Muppet movie, and it's
the older ones or the
new
newer
one?
ones?
no the Muppet movie with Steve Martin and Paul Williams, and and egad, it's a running gag. It's 10 times better than the dreck that they show to kids today. Now, the new Muppet movie wasn't too bad. We enjoyed that, but it doesn't hold a candle because it doesn't have Henson.
Sure.
And beyond Henson, the new Yoda's nothing compared to what Frank Oz was able to do with his hand in a puppet.
Just look at Force Awakens. There was no Lucas. That's not a Star Wars film. It doesn't even feel like a Star Wars film because it's missing Lucas.
People of that kind of creativity, and maybe it's one of those things where you go, we have to be thankful for the time that we had with them.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about Bowie, when you're talking about Henson, when you're talking about even to some degree Michael Jackson, like just pure absolute Andy Kaufman.
Oh yeah.
Pure absolute genius. And thank God they didn't spend all day working at the mall. Like, these guys found a way. I mean, Austin discovered Henson's coffee commercials from what, the 50s or 60s?
Oh man, those are beautiful.
Oh yeah.
The Wilkins Coffees commercials,
That's
man.
right.
You
He
were
was, like,
obsessed.
how old were you?
11.
Yeah, he was very little, and he was obsessed with that. Oh my god.
We had to get a
to
puppet maker kit.
Yes.
We made the
We had to
Wilkins
make 'em.
puppet.
He had to have
I
them.
made him with paper eyes because the kit didn't have any eyes included.
Okay.
And I got a 99-cent store revolver. And I went around the house saying, "Do you like Wilkins coffee?" And they'd say no, and I'd pretend to kill the family.
Right, because if you don't know what this is,
And, like, he's the
Henson did a
weirdest kid
series
ever.
of commercials
Comedy.
for Wilkins Coffee with a very primitive Kermit and a very primitive Ralph the dog. And the gimmick was he would ask you if you enjoyed the coffee, and Ralph would say he didn't, and then he would kill Ralph. They're unbelievable. But you know what?
It's
They're
the both of
totally
the Muppets.
genius. They're total. Now, did you ever hear the story? This is one of my favorite stories of NBC Studios in New York. You're gonna love this if you've never heard this. They employed Henson for a while on a couple of TV shows. He was on SNL The Muppet Players were on SNL for a while. This is mid-'70s. So early, right? So they put Henson and Frank Oz, in the basement, and they leave them there for hours on end until they're ready for the shoot. So these guys got bored. So you know what they did? They didn't discover this until like 5 or 6 years ago. Somebody opened a closet that had not been opened since before 1980. And Henson and Oz had glued eyes and arms on all the pipes and made them into characters because they were bored to tears. And now it's a stop on the NBC tour of their studio. I would love, I'm sure you can see a picture online. But think about that, of the guy like Tutankhamun, like opening King Tut's tomb and seeing like, wait a minute. I know what this looks like. Because, the Henson style's unmistakable. Unmistakable. Now, I didn't mean to upset you, Tim.
That's
I hope you don't.
I can finally answer.
Yeah.
I watched Dark Crystal.
Oh, that's the perfect way. That was his
second to last film.
It was his epic. It was his baby.
Labyrinth was his last film.
Yeah. And you know what's in it? And not to get into a Dark Crystal because that's an hour-long conversation.
Oh yeah,
but that's a puppet movie that you're not supposed to know are puppets, and you don't. Mm-hmm. After about 10 minutes, they're just characters.
Exactly.
And that's how good Dark Crystal is. That's a fantastic movie.
It's just.
But the studio and the public had no idea what to do with it. They're like, "What the hell is this?"
Exactly. Well, it's funny. The most creative people they bust their ass to get their ideas out into film, and then the public just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Or can't appreciate
until
it.
later.
That's the sad state of humanity, is that very few auteurs are heralded in their day. Bowie had unrivaled success, so we're not going to count Bowie. But Henson, he did stumble, and it took the poor guy passing away for people to go, wait a minute, now we've lost it. Yeah. If only we'd listened and let him make 10 more movies between 85 and 90, Now, he did work on, you've ever seen Jim Henson's The Storyteller on CBS?
Yes.
Those were really good, and they weren't
awesome.
They weren't for children. Or they re-released, in the late 80s, they re-released The Muppet Show, minus the musical acts, because obviously they didn't have the rights to that.
Right.
But if you've ever seen they put them on videotapes, and it's Kermit and sometimes Scooter or Fozzie or Ralph, and they're in an attic, and they're like taking sheets off things, and Kermit will go, "Yeah, I remember that," and then they'll cut to the sequence from the Muppet Show that it was on. They were really weird videotapes, but I remember just inhaling them because they had stuff that. Because when they put Muppet Show in syndication, they put all the musical acts and the big stuff, but they would chop off the esoterical stuff for commercials. Right. Phenomenon notwithstanding. But there was a sequence where they did Windmills of the Mind. That's completely insane. Remember, we watched it. It's completely insane, which just nobody ever sees. Or like Peter Sellers with a Oompa band singing Cigarettes and Whiskey and Wild Wild Women.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's or Alice Cooper or Zero Mostel, Steve Martin. The list goes on and on. So, I guess, to wrap it up, because we're over an hour here, any final thoughts you want to... Because I don't want you to, at the end, go, I should have said this or that.
I'm a very lucky man.
You are. You completely are. The stuff that you, as your rich uncle said, hey, step in and do, you hit it on the nail twice.
Yeah, I know.
That's hard to do, my friend. A lot of people work on movies and they end up being Elf Bowling. They don't end up masterpiece or 7-10 split, right?
Yeah.
They don't end up being absolute masterpieces. And Legend, Ridley Scott, and Labyrinth, Jim Henson are unmitigated. I don't care. They're masterpieces as far as I'm concerned. They made me the person that I am today because I saw them in a theater and was blown out of the seat.
Nice. nice.
And that's what you do. I mean, Labyrinth was featured in Starlog for months. So when it came out, I wasn't missing it. And I saw it first run and at the Dollar Theater.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, because you never, I mean, videotapes back then were for rental only. Only a few movies. The idea of, they didn't figure out that people wanted to collect movies until a little later. Late 80s was when people started collecting movies. They were
too expensive when they first came out.
They weren't designed.
Love that movie. If you were to spend 80
they
bucks
weren't designed for that. The studio, they were designed for rentals because the studio was still. I mean, the video store kept part of it, but then some of it was sent off to the studio.
Backdoor money.
I mean, that's what it was, and that's why a lot of these movies got made because they're like, look, we'll make it up. If we don't make it in our theatrical run, we'll make it up in this, and that it created a whole different industry.
Yeah.
So you had to really. I mean, and then the other thing was that the video store was only going to get one copy of Labyrinth or Legend, and it was going to be checked out because people were going to figure out these are quality movies. You know, it's not like Top Gun, because Top Gun, they got 30.
Exactly.
30 copies. I know. I fought the good fight when I worked at the store. And I go, why are you buying so many copies of this crap? Why aren't we buying more of this? Well, those are cult movies. Nobody watches those. Watch it. Watch me. I'll make sure people discover these. When I worked at the video store, we got one copy of The Abyss. James Cameron's The Abyss. One copy.
I bet they didn't get any John Waters films.
Oh, no. If the store I worked at, they would have thrown Pink Flamingos in the trash. Are you kidding? John Waters didn't become a mainstream guy until Hairspray.
Yeah.
You know, before that, he was cult
Very
for
much.
a reason.
Very much.
Hairspray was his attempt at going legit. I mean, it worked out. Hairspray's I don't care about the remake. The original one's really with Divine and Sonny Bono and Blondie. And Ricky Lake, right? He discovered Ricky Lake. Yes. Yeah, so, hey, let's hear it for Tim Hampton.
Yay!
Movie producer extraordinaire. And thank you so much for opening up your heart and sharing these amazing memories. I am indebted to you, my friend.
I am to you. Thank you.
No, it didn't matter what you did on the movies, because from the guy who put the eyeliner on Bowie's eyebrows to the guy who got coffee to the guy who drove him around, everybody contributed. Everybody contributed to something that made my teenage years worth living. You know? And while everybody else, I mean, while Rachel was dancing to Depeche Mode, I was dancing to Underground and Labyrinth like a nerd. I mean, I lived for soundtracks. Nice. I really did. What a nerd I was. I want to beat myself up.
And you can't find the Legend soundtrack or Labyrinth soundtrack anywhere.
No.
Just
the hits. Not the incidental music, which is really good.
Really?
I finally found it.
Before we go, what's your favorite moment of Labyrinth? Hard to do. It's a fantastic movie.
Wow. That's kind of like saying, which drink of water do you like from your whole life? Oh my.
Because we talked earlier
Oh, yeah.
about what my favorite moment is. And my favorite moment is the actual end, where everything has been decided. Sarah has reclaimed Toby, but all the characters are in a bedroom and they go, hey, we're here if you need us. And what better message is that okay, great, you're going to grow up, but guess what? You're going to grow old, but you don't have to grow up.
Yes.
That's the message of Labyrinth, and it's so beautifully done. Because it comes on, not to digress, but it comes on that moment where the little hag that Brian Henson plays, like, oh, you want that, and put that up there, and you want that, and the idea is you can't have too much of this stuff. And at the end, Sarah goes, no, I can have all this stuff. It's not going to make me a worse person. It's going to make me a well-rounded person. I love that moment where they're all back in the bedroom. I just think it's great. And the owl's at the window.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
The specter is still there and he flies away. And it's just, it's so perfect. You know, and you know what? It's easy to come up with a great concept. Look at SNL. They come up with great concepts all the time. Nailing the ending, that's another
tough.
thing. The endings are tough, man. Did you come up with one, or you don't have to if you don't want to? What about you? You've seen it a million times.
Actually, I'd have to say Magic Dance.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
You love when he throws the baby up.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that
I
great?
was cringing.
The first time you see it, you're like...
and then I gotta tell myself, nope, that wasn't the real baby. Nope, that wasn't the real baby. But, yeah.
Prop Baby 101.
I like the cleaners.
Oh, God, yes.
I love the cleaners because it's so random. The cleaners! You must have really pissed him off. I love when he goes, oh, so the labyrinth's a piece of cake, is it? Or what? I mean, we have lines of dialogue that are part of our family fabric.
Oh my goodness!
Like when he goes, "What's that around your wrist?" Nothing. Tra la la. Looks like a bracelet. Hogwart, hoggle. I love it. Love it.
That's right.
And he goes, "What's that made of?" This just plastic. Ooh, plastic. It's brilliant. And the worm. No, come inside, have a cup of tea. If she kept going that way, she'd have gone straight to that castle.
Have you looked at the pictures on the wall in her bedroom?
No. What am I missing?
Well, in one picture, there's her mother, and David Bowie is with her.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I got the Blu-ray coming, so I'm going to still frame
Freeze frame.
Yeah,
Freeze frame.
exactly. He's going to...
I'm a J. Giles bandit. Freeze frame.
And at one point, David Bowie has a piece of cake in his hand.
He does?
Yes.
Where?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, so now I got to find it.
You're going to be
And you know what? I love the scene where the rocks are his face.
Oh, God,
and then the camera moves and they're all positioned apart from each other. Oh, when that scene was in the theater, I was like a nerd. I was like, oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, I should be quiet.
No.
You know?
You love
I like the fire beasts.
Yeah, you know what? People pan that sequence, but I think
Why?
it's great.
That was great.
Chili down with the fire gang. You gotta throw your own head.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. I said, you know, Tim, I think this would be great. You know, maybe we could show this to your students. He goes, I don't know about that one because the taking off the heads thing. He's concerned about that scene. A couple of scenes.
They might want to take off their own heads.
So
they're only 7.
So I was like, well, it's a shame. Don't know what they're missing.
It was a good moment of filmmaking because it's one of the rare moments of green screen in the film.
True.
But you have to. But the thing is like nobody's working on the body part that it looks like they're working on.
Oh, no.
There's like 6 people or so per chili guy to make him do all that. Totally brilliant. As brilliant as the We're Helping Hands.
Oh, my God. That
Love
was
that
amazing.
sequence.
When she falls down.
Oh, yes.
When she falls down the oubliette.
Yes, I was going to ask you, how long did that scene take?
And they're all like, We're Helping Hands.
It's between 2 and 4 guys' hands.
Oh, that's great, too.
Yeah.
It's just the power of imagination because they're just hands, but each one has a little personality. She chills down. It's just so brilliant.
Brilliant.
I mean, you can tell. Like I I've said it on the show before. When I was 19, 20, 21, I had a laser displayer, and I would just put movies on for background. I would put Labyrinth on and just loop it. And just like build model kits or write stuff, and like I put movies on for comfort, and I would just absorb them.
Wonderful.
Oh, I loved them. I saw somebody at the Star Wars 10th anniversary convention, 1987.
Oh, nice.
It was a woman dressed as Jareth. And it was one of the most beautiful costumes I've ever seen at a convention because when a movie's on film. People don't know this these days because everything's digital.
Right.
But when movies are projected on film, there is a film haze that obscures. That's why some effects don't hold up in a lot of movies because they weren't meant to be seen crystal clear, crisp. They were meant to be seen in the haze. Like George Powell's War of the Worlds. You can see all the wires because you weren't supposed to see it on Blu-ray. You're supposed to see it in the movie.
Right.
But I didn't notice like Jareth's costumes. But when I saw this woman's take on it, I was astounded because the collar goes up and out.
Yes.
And then it has these rods that come up, and they're like little hands.
Yes.
Holding, like a claw-footed bathtub, holding the collar up. Oh, the detail work was amazing. I'm like, did I miss that in the movie? And I did. I totally did. Great movie. I mean, we talk about it all day. I love the rocks that go back for the. He goes, I haven't said it in such a long time. If you have to, go back for the way you are going leads to certain destruction. Are you happy? Oh yes. I love the door knockers.
Oh yeah.
You know, what's that? Doesn't want his ring back. Can't say I blame him. Oh, shut up. Sorry, can't hear you. They're brilliant. Everything's. So few movies are like that. I think it's great. I really
miss
do.
that time of those movies, all those wonderful movies, Dark Crystal and Legend, and it's sad that we can't go back to that time and make them now because
we don't. Yeah, we don't get that now. No, now everything even Guardians, which we've been heralding. Let's not forget that, and funny too that we're bashing the remake of Labyrinth while lauding Guardians, the same writer, which I think is funny. But let's not forget that Guardians, for all of its imagination and all of its fun, does have a climax where the main hero says, "We're the Guardians of the Galaxy, bitch." And I went, I don't. He didn't have to say that.
He didn't have to say like
that.
No, and I'm a prude.
The film.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get that.
And you've talked about that too, about a film being dated. Or the pop culture at the time.
Yeah,
It's immediate.
Try to watch Shrek. You cannot.
I know.
With the Smash Mouth music in there, you know exactly where you are in time. DreamWorks has excelled at that kind of crud. That's why the Pixar movies are timeless. Some of Randy Newman's music in the first Toy Story is pretty bad. You like that stupid song about sailing.
Which one?
Sailing.
The one where Buzz can't fly.
The balcony falling down.
Oh, it's terrible.
I love the sailing
he goes,
song.
Out among the stars.
Ooh, it's
terrible. You
Oh my
see
God,
it like a Vietnam thing. You've blocked it out. Because
That's it.
your brain wants to save you from the trauma of that song.
I love that part of the movie. I love that part. And I love that song.
You're the only one.
I can't be the only one.
Like Cheer Up Charlie and Willy Wonka. No. Well, again, thank you both for being on the show. I really and your support for the show. And thank you so much. You're the guys who went to the Christmas Story house. Like you took a tour of it.
Well,
that's awesome.
Yes, actually, yes. I have family in Ohio, and my grandmother lives in Akron. So Cleveland actually is only about an hour away. So I'm like, I'm going. So me and my aunt, we went in October. And it was great, because there's not, the whole crowd.
Oh yeah, I'm sure around Christmas time it's a nightmare.
Perfect. I was like, let's go to the Christmas Story house. So we go, and I'm just like, okay, take my picture off front. So it's just wonderful because across the street is the museum and the gift store. Now at that time, it was a really small little dinky thing. Brian, the owner, I met him. He said that he's going to expand it. And I said, okay. So I'll come back. Don't you worry. For the 30th anniversary. So I went back. He expanded it. It's huge. And he expanded the museum as well. And that's free, too. It is included in your ticket. So it's across the street. It's the two houses, the gift store and the museum. And, of course, the gorgeous house.
What's the most impressive piece in the museum? Because we've all seen that one item that makes us go, wow.
It was
a lamp.
No, because none survived.
Oh.
You can tell in the movie that they're really flimsy. They almost look like celluloid.
I'd have to say Randy's his jumpsuit.
Oh, the one that he can't put his arms in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Because Peter, he has two of the costumes. He has the bunny suit. His mother has that, and he has the also the outfit where he's fighting Black Bart, the Remstone kind
of. That's great.
And I'm just
nice.
like,
the first dream sequence in the movie. Yeah, that's
so
great.
Like, wow. So
yeah, no, I love all that stuff. I love that stuff.
That would be fun to do. I want to do that.
That would have been. I'm talking to myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
My thing was at the Star Wars 10th anniversary convention, they had a room full of props, and they were all
costumes?
pretty costumes and stuff from Star Wars. Okay. But the one thing that I gravitated towards was the Ark of the Covenant, and I just was like, oh my god, the one from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice.
I just couldn't believe it was really it exists in the form that you see it in the movie. It's a real piece, and it's gorgeous.
Full size?
Wowed by a prop. Have you ever
What's
been
that?
Was
wowed
it
by a
full
prop?
size?
It's full size, yeah.
Oh, damn.
It was beautiful. You've never been wowed by a
Yeah,
prop?
I'm trying to think. Like,
You've never seen a movie prop and went, that's the actual prop.
I got a place I got to take you.
I'm trying to think, like,
I don't think I
or
have
even
either.
what movie would do that for me. Like, what movie over Lifetime? Maybe something from Annie.
Something from
Grease.
Annie, Grease.
My childhood, if those were my
I don't
movies, I was a little
Well,
girl.
but you
not the live one.
you've been to profiles in history at Comic-Con. They have stuff
and I
that's
wasn't
just...
like, wow, the way
Oh, I
you wore
did.
for Willy Wonka's
They had
jacket.
Willy Wonka's suit, and I nearly had
I
a
couldn't pry him
nervous
away.
breakdown.
I just stood there
that
staring
thing is
at it.
gorgeous.
That's
They
a
had
pretty
Gene
big deal.
Wilder's
Yeah.
purple
Oh.
suit. I was crying.
I know.
I had tears. I was like,
it's living room right
that's
there.
my dad. That's the dad I never had right there in the flesh in that suit. You know, and I wouldn't feel that way over a Luke Skywalker lightsaber.
See, I thought you would.
No.
I totally thought
So there's
you
something
would.
weird about Star Wars. The props don't.
They're
They
old.
don't
do
nothing
much for me.
you?
Not really. I don't know what it is.
wow.
I think it might
Because
be.
then they've redone in toy form so many times.
That's exactly what I was going to
Yeah.
say.
Oh,
Like we
that's what I
played
would
with them
think,
so often as
that it wasn't-
toys
yeah.
that the actual one is kind of like, oh yeah, I guess that is the actual one. Oh yeah, like I was at Paramount one time, and the biggest prop I saw that made me like catch my breath, I saw Boo Boo Kitty from Laverne and Shirley.
Really?
The real Boo Boo Kitty. I was like, that's Boo Boo Kitty. I'm sure they had. I'm sure they had a few.
I was gonna say,
But it was in a case next to
Boo Boo Kitty.
the pram, the stroller for
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
Untouchables
yeah, yeah.
that's going down the steps. But I was like, and Maverick's helmet from Top Gun. But like, that's Boo Boo Kitty. Look how cool that is.
That's awesome.
That
was a great
yeah,
time.
Nice.
I like that. But you've never seen a prop, Rachel, at Profiles in History?
I remember on
You?
the field trip to Fit'em, our teacher said we set up some spare time. There was a museum of Will movie costumes you guys got to see for the fashion class. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was expecting, typical stuff, a Superman uniform, Batman and Robin costumes, big stuff from lower end movies. I was expecting Superman Returns, Superman, Batman and Robin, Batman.
So what'd you get?
Stuff that I had seen the other weekend was blown away by. The most impressive thing.
Oh, you
was,
saw it. You're talking about Grand Budapest.
Grand
right?
Budapest. They had the Grand Budapest jacket in.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
The Grand Budapest is so weird. Have you seen this movie?
I
Not
love
yet.
that movie.
That-
Oh my god!
Somebody lent it to me, and I said, I watched 5 minutes. I said, oh, I have to wait and watch this with my kids because that's right up their alley. It's
I-
so
So
quirky.
you okay.
I
Did you enjoy
loved
it?
this movie.
You did?
I highly recommend the Grand
Yeah,
Budapest.
well,
I've been wanting to.
you don't know it, but you're a Wes Anderson fan because The Life Aquatic is the same style of movie with Bill Murray.
nice.
You'd love that. Yeah,
But they also had the Boardman costume.
yeah. Did you see Birdman with Michael
I
Keaton?
didn't get this.
Yeah, that's great.
That was
I
actually a
want
really good
to.
movie.
And that costume's impressive.
Not my type
Yeah.
of movie, and I really liked it. So
I-
I stayed awake. That's a.
I would say Pixels on my 3DS, but they're really low quality and they take forever to load.
He came home so excited from that field trip. I remember that.
I'm being so upset. I don't know.
What if you saw something from Planet of the
Because-
Apes?
Oh, that would
Okay,
be impressive.
maybe.
Because we've seen some of those on eBay. They show up once in a while, like from the
Never
original
person.
Planet of the Apes.
Original,
You
yeah.
know, maybe something from Jaws. Any of my childhood movies, but I've never seen them, so I don't know if physically seeing them would have a different effect. I
I'm
don't know.
surprised you haven't gone to a Jaws convention. The convention.
They don't have a Jaws
Yes,
convention.
Yes, they do.
I mean, my friend
Yes, they do.
Boaz, she went.
Shark Con.
I know.
It's got to be Shark Con.
I know.
It's
Right?
not a, it's a Shark Con.
Yes, remember?
There's a Shark Con.
What?
There's got to be. Jaws is a
Look at this
institution.
Yeah, because some of the actors go there. You don't. Wow.
I've never.
Have you ever watched some of the supplemental on Jaws, the other stuff, and like an interview? You know, the girl that gets killed in the beginning. They have interviews with her, and
Oh,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've only heard stories about when they were jerking her down and how she
yeah,
broke the
like
That's
she's
all I've
so
heard.
beautiful in the movie, and then you're like,
Well,
God, time is so mean.
Time
I mean,
goes
she's
on
still a
for
good-looking
on.
woman,
Yes.
but
she was at
There
one of the
really
shark
is a Shark
conventions.
Con.
You think I'm lying to you?
Shark Con is an event that brings people
Hello,
love for
did
ocean
we-
and aquatic things.
all right, we got to
together.
wrap it up because we're nearing we're 1 hour and a half, so people are gonna laugh. Although the Indiana Jones one was 2
It's
solid
promising
hours.
the fun of Comic Con only in
I
ocean
told
form.
you.
You'll
Are you
have
shark?
A fin of a good time. Or something. What is it? I don't
Shark
know.
Con has something for everyone who loves the ocean.
Oh my
And
goodness.
his eyes rolled back. They're all
Okay,
black like
well-
a doll's eyes.
Of course, it's going to be.
What I wish I knew
Florida.
by heart the song that he sings. You know,
That would be good.
the one about the virgins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any more questions about the Christmas Story House?
You went all through it.
There's even a
Don't they-
countdown. 164
Can
days.
you leave me alone with the
13
Shark
hours,
Con?
51 minutes and 12 seconds to Shark Con.
Don't they have an option where you can stay overnight in the
Okay,
house?
Now,
Yes.
here's the thing
Where's it
about
at?
this. The Christmas Story, they have an auction every year. It's an eBay auction every year.
For, like, charity or something.
Yes, to fix
We'll
up
tell
the
you
house
there.
or for
Oh,
community
okay.
projects.
Oh,
so,
sure.
So they have the auction every year,
July 9th.
and I get like an alert or something. So I go and check and put it in my watch,
Oh,
on
yeah.
eBay. So,
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, if it's getting to a certain
God, it's not
amount,
even
okay, I'll do it. But
expensive.
it was like, it went a little over my budget this year.
Yeah.
It went to
2 days.
8,000.
8,000.
So
$30.
it includes
But that's-
a lot of things, though.
But that's to wake up in the house
you wake
on
up,
Christmas
you
morning.
Wake up, yes.
And you get the bunny suit.
That's
You get the bunny. You get a lot of things.
that's so awesome
I-
that
I know.
exists.
I was just like, I gotta do this.
That is fantastic.
I
Now,
love
did you
it.
ever see the sequel, My Summer Story, or no?
I didn't see the Summer Story one yet. I saw the other one, the Christmas Story. with-
Oh no, that's unwatchable. You're talking
I
about
know.
A Christmas Story 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh no.
I wouldn't recommend that to anyone.
As a fan, I had to see it, and I knew it wouldn't hold up to the original, but I had to see what this was going to be
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
was just like,
It's one of those like
burning
just
my
because you
eyeballs.
can doesn't
Yes.
mean you should.
Tim, look at the floor for this thing.
Oh my god!
Why are we
That's a
not going?
terrible,
We're going.
terrible movie. Now that being said, My Summer Story has Gene Shepard narrating,
yeah.
and I'll try to get it on a disc for you.
Oh, thank you.
Charles Grodin plays the father.
father.
Mary
Correct.
Steenburgen plays the mom. Kieran Culkin is Ralphie.
Can I go to
Right,
Florida?
Macaulay Culkin's
It's about
father.
going to the World's Fair and top battling, and it's a really
the tops,
the
yes.
mom Mary Steenburgen. This is my favorite part of the movie. She goes to the theater every week because if you go see a movie, you get a piece of dishware.
That's what. Oh my
And
gosh!
because of
That's
a
so funny that you say
snafu,
that.
they keep getting gravy boats.
Ah,
no.
that's all they had left.
Every week they get a gravy boat. So she's at the theater with an armful of gravy boats. And Glenn Shaddix, who played Otho in Beetlejuice, he comes up and he goes, ladies, this week we have a lovely, and he has to admit they have a gravy boat again. So she leads the brigade and they start throwing the gravy boat. It
gotta
is
see
so
this
much
now.
fun.
Oh, I would
it's,
like that.
It's not anywhere as good or as sentimental as Christmas Story, but it's not bad, and it doesn't desecrate the first film at all. It's a companion. I mean, you're talking about it's Gene Shepard's voiceover again, and it's directed by Bob Clark. So it does have the lineage that says, look, this is
glad.
not Christmas Story 2 or that crud, or like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Paradise.
I never
If you've
saw it.
ever
I didn't.
don't.
I didn't.
It's
Is it that
unwatchable.
bad? Okay.
You watch the first 3 minutes because they got the original Dana daughter from
Really?
the first Vacation to come back and reprise it. Other than that, no reason to watch it.
Well, glad you told me. Avoid it like the plague.
All right. Well, again, like we said many times, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for appearing on the show and opening up your memories of these two classic movies that mean so much to me and people around the world. And congratulations on being a part of them. That's really, really amazing and really fun. And you brought the unicorn horn over, for God's sake, that you're not supposed to have. And then wait. Ridley Scott's at the door. Oh,
don't
come
know
in,
where that came
sir. Come in, sir. I thought you were making Alien Prometheus 2.
I want my horn back.
I listen here. I want my own back. Is Ridley Scott? He's English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I got that wrong. I turned him into Adele for a second.
Well, you went a little Australian, but
Now
that's okay.
you've listened to the show before, right?
Yeah. Oh,
My
yeah.
show.
Wait a minute.
So-
Wait a minute. We have to have a talk about Yaki Bird.
Yeah. Hello, Yaki
Yeah.
Bird. Hello.
Oh no.
Hello.
This show
Hello.
has made a
Hello.
turn.
So,
Yeah. Hit me with your best shot.
You never got an apology.
No, because when I had dinner with him, he still said, "Oh yeah, you let the bird go." Oh yeah, even though the bird
walked out
under the bed. He remembered it differently. Yeah, no.
See,
for sale there.
You know what that is? You ever seen Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion?
Yeah.
That's a good movie, right?
Yes.
But you know that dream sequence where they have a fight over who's the Mary and who's the Rhoda?
Okay, yeah.
And Romy's on her deathbed going, "I'm the Mary," with her middle finger up and then the flat line. That's Berg and me.
Oh, wow.
Don't
Till the end.
You let the bird go.
Till the end, yes.
And that's not his flat line, that's his ear.
Well, I keep going around our house to Monique, and I say, "Where's Yaki Bird?"
Do you really?
I do that, and I do the, "We're going on a field trip."
Yes, he does. We're going on. Fine, we're going on. Come on, we're going on a field trip. Stop it. Just stop it.
See that dial?
Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go. Look, it's going around a circle.
But you change it up. You said
I do.
Doing it because of something.
Oh, I
You got
don't
the swamp cooler on.
Yeah,
oh, I know,
swamp
right?
cooler, that's
Oh,
right.
my God. Now, here's the thing. My brother was around for a lot of that.
Right, I thought he had moved out by then.
But he was still around.
Oh,
he endured
Okay.
some of it.
Okay.
And he's coming over for a big show where we're going to talk about when we lived on Beach Boulevard in that big house, right? And he asked me the day, he goes, "So are you going to do the bird voice for me?" And I'm like, "You went through hell with this guy, and even you want to relive it by having me do the voice."
That's weird.
Because the biggest compliment I got was after that show, people come up to me and they go, "You weren't kidding about the way he talked." I said, "No, I wasn't kidding. That's the way. That's how it goes." Yeah.
That's so
my
funny.
gosh. Oh my gosh. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yaki bird. Hello.
I
And the bird
enjoy the Yaki Bird.
never talked. Never said hello. Never.
He was deaf, right?
The bird was as deaf as he was. Two deaf guys trying to talk to each other. Like See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Yeah, there you go.
Was there or wasn't there a woman? Are you serious? Fuzzy Wuzzy was a woman? Stop reading the lips wrong. Brilliant. All right, so, hey, stop that. We're going to wrap the show up. But
There's a shark con.
not with the shark con.
We're going.
Where's it at?
Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, you're not going to Tampa.
$14.95 a day, $29.95 for a 2-day pass. They have real life sharks, petting things. They have picture
mouse.
They have a shark
We've
ride.
made a turn.
They have
And-
Jaws memorabilia for sale.
Who
Many vendors selling
we
Jaws.
tried to-
You mean you haven't
We tried to
bought
tell
Bruce yet?
I'm just saying.
Bruce got donated
He did.
to the Academy of Arts and Sciences.
I'm
They
so
did.
glad.
Thank
I'm so glad.
We're talking about the shark that was
Yep.
the last known surviving pull from the mold of Jaws. Not the one from the movie, but the last surviving pull from the theme park. And it's been at a junkyard in the valley for the last 30 years.
Yep.
And the junkyard's closing, so the guy is donating it to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, where it will be enjoyed in a museum that they're currently building for generations to come. And that's a great thing.
I just thought of something. You know the Hoggle costume?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just found it in Louisiana in an air. It was lost in airport
right.
luggage.
That's
now it's
right.
part of their little museum.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
There's a company that buys the lost luggage that's never claimed, and when they open it up, Hoggle was in it. Have you seen him? He's
Yeah.
been restored, though, I think.
Oh, really?
Because for a while, we looked at pictures, he
It
rotted.
looked melted.
Oh, yeah. You could see
the
the skeleton inside.
shame.
But they don't last. The puppets
Not
don't
meant
last.
to last.
The,
Not
the
meant to,
characters
you're right.
don't last, I
Yeah,
should
they're
say,
not.
right?
There you go.
All right. Well, again, thank you. We're gonna let you end the show because you know how to say. You know, I say it at the end, right? You guys get to say it. So let's do the roll call. Thanks for listening. You can leave us a review on iTunes. You can support us on Patreon if there's a movie you want reviewed. I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice of this thing that we sit around and do. I am joined by who's here?
Rachel?
Austin.
And my special guest, Tim and Monique Hampton. Thank you so much.
Yay.
You guys wrap it up.
Well,
I guess it's 91 reasons.
Yeah!
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Nothing. 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 Tra-la-la.